Hey guys, welcome to the Far Cry 5 review. We have a ton to get through, so let's jump right in.
You wouldn't kill a turkey, would you?
First thing off on the list that we got to go through is we got to go through the bugs. So yeah, from what I can recall, in our playthrough, we only really had bugs that were based on a lot of the physics not working in some way.
Wait, can you fly like this?
Yeah.
Go for it. Whee! This is amazing! Ah,
Look, we're going.
there's been a
Oh my-
tree! Oh god!
What just happened?
Oh no! Oh no! 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 Parachute!
It insta-killed me. I don't know what happened. Also, the only sort of game-breaking thing I remember really was like an excessively long loading screen after we killed John.
Yeah. I think there were also times where we had NPCs that were just like falling out of the sky.
What's that in the air mark?
A bird looks like.
But it's got a quest.
I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Mark, do you see a quest giver just... Hold on.
No.
I'm pretty sure I just watched a quest giver fall out of the sky.
Probably just spawned.
In the sky.
Yeah.
Hello, yeah.
I remember that one in particular. There were times when
Yeah.
you had, if I remember correctly, you had your gun, like just not in your hands, like it was floating around you.
If we find it, Mark, your gun is like not where it should be on my game anymore. Can I switch gun? Okay, that's better.
That's something that's not just particular to this game. You can get that across a lot of things. But yeah, it was present. Yeah, but basically it was... in general, there wasn't a lot of game-break stuff. There were only like a handful of occasions where it was... Not even, there was probably like 2 game-breaking occasions, and the rest of it was mostly amusing physics bugs.
Yeah, I'd say it's points actually for the amusing physics bugs, but
Yeah.
I don't think we ever had, there was never any actual bugs that caused crashing. There was never a single hard crash, which is impressive actually. So yeah, overall the bugs are pretty limited, and again, they're mostly limited to physics or animations.
Back at the pumpkin place? One of these preppers here as well.
Oh, I just...
Preppers at least gave us quite a bit of cash.
Where is the...
This is...
What?
Okay, so... Shopman is gone.
This is bullshit.
This is bullshit. We came all this way to sell some fish. The local market's closed today.
In terms of frustrations that we had with the actual game, one of the little like pet peeves I had was the NPC fetch quest. I think we only really did one, but the NPC kind of was really slow and he broke because he got too far away from us at some point and he didn't really know what he was supposed to be doing.
I feel like... Hold on, we're getting
Okay.
too far. He's apparently... What is he doing? I don't know what he was doing.
Even like 20 years since they were conceived or whatever, escort missions suck.
I'll agree. Escort missions aren't that great.
Other than that, I think one of the ones was the economy of the game. I've said before, made no sense. Where at some point you pointed out that you could pay $7,200 for a pistol, or you could get yourself an assault helicopter. One of these is
Yeah.
more useful than the other.
I mean, it comes down to like a trade-off between how much freedom they want to give you right off the bat and what kind of scaling you're looking for in terms of difficulty. But the moment you can unlock the helicopter, basically you can speedrun the game.
Yeah.
Money is it serves its purpose in that early game. It's slow to get, but it's not really that slow. And so, yeah, as you say, it's
Yeah.
strange that they balance, you know, handguns and helicopters, or at least make them, you know, about equal to acquire in terms of difficulty and all that.
I think one of the little like things that really ground my gears was the NPCs retalking. So every time someone raised a gun or you turned around, the NPC would be like, oh, I guess you don't want to talk to me. Or if something attacked you, which happened very frequently, the NPCs, yeah, they would just have to restart their entire dialogue chain.
I feel much better.
Sorry.
Where was he?
There's an old vet
Sorry.
who
Oh,
lives
God.
just over
Yeah, it's
there.
because I
He
wanted to,
can't move very well
like, aiming
anymore.
down
I
sights
hope he's not
apparently
in any
triggers
trouble.
them, and they get scared.
I feel much better.
Fuck.
Oh,
I'm
for hiring.
hearing they burned the farm hens alive at Sunrise Farm. I thought the pet hungry ass wolf coming.
Okay.
Wolf out of nowhere.
I love that. I heard they burned the hungry ass wolf coming.
I can't believe you took back. I'm hearing they burned the farm hens
Fucking A.
alive at
No, I gotta
Sunrise
do it
Farm.
again.
Okay, one of the
There we go, now I have the medkit.
These Peggies are really fucking determined to get us in John's bunker. These Peggies are really fucking determined to get us in John's bunker.
Our shit.
The head
So if
tracking
you
is
could
good.
get those supplies, it'd be a big help for us. Hey, there's no need to get jumped.
No.
Just the
Mark.
person I was looking for.
Mark.
Okay.
Ah.
So anyway,
It is a strange choice where they're like, you cannot, ADS someone's face and have them keep talking. On paper, it adds immersion, and in practice, it just frustrates.
Are those horses, or...?
Lot of pain here.
Sorry.
That's alright.
There we go, just in case that somehow messes with shit.
You just made a friend for life.
The game, in my opinion, currently embodies the now generation of fluidity. So similar to like Borderlands 3 in a way. You have very good control of yourself, if that makes sense. You can grapple over everything you want. You can slide.
Yeah, controls
It's-
are very responsive and,
yeah.
and fairly tight.
Flying was chaotic, like completely on PC.
You missed the objective. You missed.
I did?
Double back. Yeah.
No!
God, this is not fun to watch.
How does one slow down?
With decelerate with shift or control or C or.
I'm trying. How does one... Why is there a yellow circle in the sky? I need to... Where are we going? Oh, Lord! Help! No, that's down! This is not going well.
It was basically impossible for me to try and take down another flying vehicle, in the plane specifically. The helicopter, it seemed a lot easier when you were piloting to actually take down planes, but trying to fly a plane and fight like in a dogfight was absolute chaos and almost impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fun experience, but yeah.
I never know as well. It's like I know it's not the hardest difficulty because you have the new game plus difficulty, but I know we were playing on the harder difficulty, so I don't know what the intended experience is when it comes to vehicular
That's
combat.
true.
But I didn't feel. Obviously, it needs to be. It should be challenging, but from the limited amount I played in the plane, I felt like the helicopter was way easier to control. And I mean, you can take down planes easily with a helicopter. So yeah.
Well, that'll bring us actually to a point that's way down the line, which is the vehicular combat. I found was pretty okay. I mean, it was
That's
fun
right.
to be able to, the controls for vehicles, like your standard like cars and buggies and quad bikes and all that, are actually pretty fun and very responsive.
Why did your daddy put cannons on this thing?
America. Oh, I'm out of ammo for now.
Are you serious? Mark is leading us on a goose chase, and now we're flying through the air, upside down, backwards, down a hill. Oh, lordy lord, what is happening?
Why is that? Oh, I'm around a pole, aren't I?
Yes.
This is going really well. Ow.
Okay.
I require an explanation.
How did you... How?
It's really difficult to get that down properly in like a first-person setting.
They had a few interesting vehicles, but for the most part, it's your run-of-the-mill stuff. They had the
Yeah.
combine harvester and stuff, and bits and pieces like that. But other than that, it was just like planes, helicopters, whatever.
That is true.
But that doesn't really matter. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a staple of the series, I think.
Firebone? I don't know. Oh, it does.
Eat!
Next up was the cutscenes and story. Yeah, in my opinion, the story was obviously very bare bones. Comprising of you kind of fucking about until you force a confrontation once you get enough resistance points in the game. And yeah, it kind of really did feel that way, because there was no, we'd mentioned this a while, but there was no organic cutscenes. Everything forced you to basically be captured, and
Yeah, there was no organic progression to the main storyline.
Yeah.
It felt like it was all incumbent on you being darted, or there was always like a mechanic that like would put you into like an ether, and then you would be suddenly somewhere else, or suddenly doing something else. So yeah,
No matter what you were
that was a bit jarring. I agree with you.
yeah,
on that one.
the supporting characters, so like all of the little NPCs and their little plot lines or characters.
They were alright. I felt like the NPCs on your side had as much character as they needed, and like as much intrigue as they needed, because they were just there to propel the storyline. I felt you didn't want to dilly on them too long. They weren't like a hell of a lot of memorable cast, but there were
Yeah.
a few that were interesting, at least, like that senator.
And surprisingly, the side characters are actually, in my opinion, more developed than the antagonists. At the same time, it's just with the different regions and that, I don't feel like you get as much interaction with some of the characters, because you're always kind of floating about. That's the problem with there being the 3 different regions, is you'll maybe find one person who you'll have at least a decent number of quests with, and then next person on, you're going to have very little, like maybe 1 or 2 interactions with them before moving around. And in that way, we never really learned anyone's name. We never really got to sit with a character long enough to get to know them. I feel like they kind of went for quantity over like quality. Or maybe they just
Yeah.
should have stuck with the same character and given us a little bit more expanded side quest storylines, if that makes sense. I think that could have been appreciated a bit more.
And you're talking about you touched on the secondary antagonists, or the whatever you want to call them, the supporting antagonists. So
Yeah.
the Joseph's family.
John, Jacob,
Um,
can't remember the lady's name now.
I at times
Hope. That's it.
I at times felt like they had tried so hard to give them personality that they had sort of left other unique characteristics, such as gameplay associated with their boss fights and stuff like that. Unique gameplay that we discussed last time on the cutting room floor. You know, I
Yeah.
felt like that was the impression they gave me, was like they tried really hard to say these people have personality, and it didn't always resonate with me. A lot of the time I just felt like, okay, so this is your niche, or this is your shtick, or this is your,
Agreed.
or, you know, and you know, they're glimpses of things, like I said in the last time, Faith's and with Faith's final confrontation, which, as you said, and I agree, is probably one of the most interesting boss battles, or at least one of the most fleshed out boss battles.
Yeah.
Where she talks about how like there's actually a line of thinking where, or maybe it was just to try and distract you, but she mentions that, you know, she's a victim as well, and that like John just basically took her and plied her with drugs. Now she's serving a purpose for him, and maybe even against her will, was the implication, I guess.
Yeah.
So that touched on like an interesting thread line there for that story, but it was never really developed. And so she, for the 90% of the time we played, she's just like the drugs lady who, you know, encourages euphoria and behaves in a, you know, as though hallucinogenics are giving her a sense of enlightenment and all that sort of thing, and you know, all these other sort of archetypes that come into play. And yet you don't really ever feel as though, or at least I never really felt as though there was anything really dynamic or interesting about the character, because that was what she was. She was that concept to a T, and nothing more.
I think the best way in which I'd describe it was that they had character, but they lacked personality and development as people.
You try to stop him.
Can we just kill her already?
There was never any meaningful interaction between them, really.
And on that note in particular, this was again where I wanted to mention that our main antagonist, we barely knew anything about him until we were 2/3 of the story through. At that point, they gave us a little bit of backstory into him, and that's all we ever learned about him until the end of the game. I feel like you felt differently about this, but I had never found that there was much reason to hate the guy or even do whatever we were doing, which is like to try and take back Hope County from him, there was no drive. I didn't really have much of a motivation to do what we were doing. Like,
I didn't
there was
feel
never
strongly
really a
about
point.
him either. Yeah, there was no strong feeling toward him. And I agree with you. I didn't feel.
Let's put it like this: in Far Cry 3, you had Voss, and Voss was a great character. What was your motivation for even going to fight Voss? He killed your brother outright at the start of the game. That is a very clear directive and motivation for wanting to fight this person again. So we didn't have something like that in this one, unfortunately. There was nothing to pull us to want to fight this person or bring conflict. The protagonist of which we play, again, we're the deputy. We have no personality whatsoever. We don't even have a voice. We have very little directive. I always found that was a little bit of a concern with this, is I never really understood. It's like, okay, so we're a sheriff, we were meant to try and capture this guy or go to lock him up. Oh, we failed and he took everyone else prisoners. Okay, I'm just gonna go on like a bloody rampage across the country, freeing everyone and trying to get back everyone. The next point on was the memorable moments and gameplay. So
The majority of the memorable moments, as I see it, came from the co-op experience.
yeah,
Not all of them, but the majority of the really impactful things. Most of the things I look back on fondly and think, man, that was a blast while it happened, was to do with the cooperative experience.
okay, let me know, I guess, when you're ready.
Yep, I'm gonna go for it.
Okay, 3,
Almost.
2, now!
I got him.
You did not get him.
Well, I hit him, but he didn't die. There we go.
Oh, there we go. I almost killed.
You can raise him, hang on, you can raise him.
Yeah, from my recollection as well, just from half of the course of playing, the physics, the variety of weapons, and the vehicles created unique opportunities for really bizarre circumstance, and it was just fun to react or create these kind of situations that you could then play through. And that was largely from us interacting off of each other in a way. And yeah, that's where the game really shines, honestly. Oh, this is bad.
Oh, yeah, so there is. I'm dead. I was eating chicken, you fuck!
Oh, no, no, no. No, fuck, it can swim!
Oh! Flaming cow! Something
Fuck,
about
you
the
went
fire
straight over the
first is really
fence.
amusing.
Yes! Yes! Yes, that's the stuff. No, 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 Mark, you understand the reasoning, right?
Yeah, but okay, there we go.
Why? He could die.
This is why I didn't want to.
I didn't think he could actually die.
But yeah, in terms of the story and memorable moments in that, there was one or two moments which I really liked, or was like, oh, that's surprising. The scene with the sheriff when he's drugged, that was a really cool scene to me.
I don't have much time, Rook. The bliss. You have to stop it. You have to hurry.
That's morbid.
Where he's contemplating hanging himself, or at least that's the...
Like, that was a cool scene to me. And no, actually, now I do remember. The other one was obviously the part where we'd been essentially brainwashed by... Not sure
Oh,
if it was
yes.
John? Where...
Jacob.
Was it Jacob? Yeah, Jacob basically makes you repeat like a section multiple times, and it seemed boring and tedious to go through this like again and again, and I was like, oh, they're just reusing the same asset and sequence. But there was actually a point to it, and it was like, oh, we'd actually just been preconditioned to actually do this. And it actually made sense at the end in a clever way. So it's like, okay, points of that is actually a very memorable thing. I will remember that from the game. That was a good part of the game. Very strange part where the end justified the means of getting there, surprisingly. They have one setting for this game, which is basically farmland, and they do it very, very well, but that's kind of all you really get. Yeah, it was kind of an issue for me, and like it's very small, but there was no real differences between like Jacob's region and John's region in particular. Faith, we at least obviously had like some drug cans lying about, and every so often an enemy would just spawn in and maul me for no particular reason.
Yeah. Is that a... Ah, fuck! Fuck! What is this? Is loot? Dead people?
Boat shop.
Dead. No, help me! The fucking wolf is eating my leg!
Which is honestly why we left the area, because we found it kind of annoying. But other than that, if you had to drop me in any of the particular areas, I wouldn't be able to tell you outright which area I'm in without having the map. Like, the areas are indistinguishable from each other. Like, yes, they have a lot of really cool and unique landmarks in the game. Like, I could have hoped for a little bit more variety of environment from that sense, but overall, I can't complain about any of the unique areas that they did provide. Like, for example, I actually didn't mention earlier, but one of the other memorable moments of the game for me was the statue that was completely destructible. That was cool.
Yeah, that was a mirror. That's another memorable moment.
Yeah.
Breaking it all piece by piece, and yeah.
I honestly thought that in terms of like animal variety was intense. There was bulls, bears, lions, buffalo.
Aw, I'm assuming these were the owners.
That's sad. Damn.
Hey, it's a good doggo.
I mean, you just died.
Mark, there's a bull about to, like, roar you.
What the fuck?
What I'm wearing.
Look,
just
it's a
for
bear.
second.
It's bear versus
A bison.
profit.
And we profit from both, yeah.
Yeah. If I will do, Ron. Yeah, sure.
Mark, you realize this is like one of the most classic references on fucking Earth, right?
What's that?
Bear versus the bull. This is an like the stock market reference. Bear
Oh
market,
yeah.
bull market. That's really cool.
do know
I
what
like
you
that.
mean.
There was just a ton. Like, the more you look into it, there is an absolute shit ton of like wildlife in the game, and that was awesome. I'm glad that there was that like large variety of animals in the game. It's just a problem that going back to the economy, there was nothing you could do with individual or unique animal parts. All of it was just sell for cash. That was kind of a
Yeah.
problem with the economy. That they basically streamlined it to the point that everything revolved around cash. Like you would get your perk points from obviously finding like random books or completing challenges, which isn't a bad system in its own. But at the same time, that coupled with the fact that cash is all you need for weapons or any kind of other upgrades, you never had any need once you'd gotten like enough of a resource. There was never a need to go hunting. There was never a need to collect a certain fish. There was no, how do I put this? In terms of scarcity, money is abundant, which makes everything that can give you money completely worthless.
Ooh,
Cookie.
God, yeah. Got it! I fucking got it, Mark!
Oh,
Oh.
I meant the ground bird. I think stripping away that system from Far Cry 3. I don't know if it was in 4, where you have different.
They should have kept that. They really should have kept that, I think.
Yeah, where you can create different things from the hides and stuff. It's
Yeah.
interesting. I think they overly streamlined it, and it became more of a well, it was fine. Obviously, it works, but it's just a bit boring. So
In terms of the enemy variety,
limited.
limited enemy.
When you actually look at it, yeah, it's pretty limited. If you discount vehicles, which I do, because I mean you can. Well, all right. Let me get that in a second. But like, fundamentally, what we had was general grunt, armored grunt, flamethrower grunt, and sniper grunt. I guess if you want
And
to.
a heavy. That's I think the 4 different types of cool. So moving on from that, now we get to the point where
Well, hang on a second. Before you do that, just I don't know if we commented on the last time, but how did you feel about the stealth versus action approach? Do you think it was meaningful in any way?
I mean, at the start of the game, I found the stealth was at least more meaningful because taking out an outpost would reward you with additional cash if no one set off alarms, or if you did it completely via stealth, you would get extra money.
And
Obviously
early on, it
helped
was
you
actually a
progress
challenge.
faster.
Like, it was a challenge to take it as like a run and gun, so
Yeah.
you're more encouraged. Yeah.
You were more encouraged to take on the stealth approach from the start of the game. But again, it didn't matter because eventually, as we pointed out, the second you get the attack helicopter at $7,200, fuck stealth, it goes out the window. You just roll up in a chopper, literally anything, blast it to bits, move on. I will also say that the last confrontation with Joseph was also a bit subpar. Because again, there was no grand battle, there was nothing very interesting. It was basically just shooting people and picking them up, and that was it.
Yeah.
I felt like there could have been so much more done.
Jesus, he's like my whole family.
He's not happy.
My family?
Yep.
My brothers, my sisters, they've been taken from me!
Okay.
By a snake! In the garden!
Jesus.
We have 2 more points left to go through, which is... The first one is, what did the game suck at?
It's really bad at.
You want me to go first?
It had. Oh, sure, go for it.
Okay, so from my perspective, the NPCs and the antagonists kind of sucked.
Go on, Willis. You're
I was
driving.
on vacation, visiting all 50 states in ascending
Dog.
order of patriotism when I got a call. E-call. I've been sent here on a special mission
Jesus.
from the big man himself. Jesus tap dancing Christ, just saying that
It
makes
is.
me semi-erect. Pardon my French.
Jesus, this
I need to
character is
recover a tape
amazing.
That if released could make him look bad to the public. I tracked it here to a member of Joseph's happy family. He stashed it somewhere, and that's
Where is he driving,
to
Mark?
lure out our man. You're gonna follow him back to his hidey hole and get
This is
tape
the NPC
back.
driving right
Do this
now.
for your country, and your country will solve your little cult problem. for
NPC
you.
got problems. Like, what the fuck? Where are we going?
Dog.
Wow, just Pablo's like, he drives like you, Ron.
Okay.
He does. He's not wrong. I drive through the bushes, but where is he taking us?
You know how many people I've met that think the end of the world is happening within the week? A million. All of them are as dead as disco.
Unless you had a friend, the game would get dull very, very quickly, and you would experience everything in the game within the course of about 4 or 5 hours.
We gotta help him, Rook. No one else will. One last thing. We had a doctor. Well, a veterinarian, but he's doing his best. Guy went missing a couple hours ago. Don't know why, don't know how. But keep an eye out for him.
Thanks,
would
bro.
you?
I definitely agree with the fact that I would have been bored very quickly had it not been for the cooperative gameplay.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the systems. You know, a big thing for me was if you have side quests or side missions, I need to feel like they're built to something meaningful.
Yeah, it
And
was
so if you
very little
have
that was
secondary,
engaging.
yeah, and if you have like secondary tasks like the fishing, for instance, it's a fairly interesting mechanic, but the purpose of doing it for a fishing side quest or doing it for money or doing it for the collective element of it, you know, the idea of collecting them,
Yeah.
didn't really feel like they really used the system to its fullest. I don't know, maybe from the perspective of getting money, it's a means of getting money. Ultimately, that's what it boiled down to for us. If you weren't doing a side mission, it was a way of getting money.
Yeah.
Because the element of collection doesn't really appeal to me. I don't know how many people it does appeal to. I mean, it just feels like busy work when you break it down.
Yeah. In
So
my
it would have
opinion,
been good
like
to make that more meaningful.
I'd say like our first experiences fishing were actually quite fun. Like
Yeah.
I was enjoying it. It seemed okay. How
Oh,
far
you
does
don't,
it
you
go?
don't have to reel it in. They'll come to the thing. Don't reel it in.
At all?
No, just hold it there until they come close, then reel it.
Okay. Okay. I think they're close now. Okay, I'm opposing the fish.
Got another really small golden trout. The first one you're gonna get is gonna be one of these massive boys, isn't it?
Yeah! Yeah! Give me fish! I have no mouse pad for this shit. Yeah! How's he gaining ground?
Dog.
I'm trying so hard! What the fuck, fish? Come on! Mama, this is torture.
What's wrong?
Help me! He won't. What am I meant to do? He just doesn't want to give in.
You just have to grilling it.
He's like, help me.
What do you mean?
Help me, this fucking fish, dude. I got him! I just fucking possessed him my finger! What the fuck?
That's what I was saying, that they're all dog shit. And you know what the best part about this? The tooltip's like, this is the best way to make money.
Jesus Christ, no, I'm not doing that again. I almost had a fucking heart attack. It was the size of my, like, 4 fingers at best. That thing gave me such a fucking workout, dude.
But then at some point it got very tedious, and again, at the point at which we'd gotten enough money that we no longer needed to fish, there was no incentive to ever want to fish again. And at that point it was like, okay, this is now a chore. Next point on was, what did the game do well? So yeah, in my opinion, the combat is very nice.
Yeah, shooting mechanics are tight. Well, it looks to me like there's a free MG.
You joining the club. This is the way.
I don't.
I accidentally... I tried to join you in the shooting, but I guess I got a little bit too over enthusiastic. It's pretty fast to kill someone with this thing.
Where are they? Right there.
Hold on.
Yeah, me too.
Got him! Yes!
It does stealth well. Overall, it succeeds as an open world sandbox game. If you're just looking to fuck about with a friend, this is a great game for that.
This is either gonna end really well or really badly. Okay, okay.
You just like, yeah.
I just...
Fuck.
Did that
I
hurt?
can't believe you've done this. Yeah, I nearly died.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
It's, yeah. You've been blessed.
Blew up a bison, you've been blessed.
Something you don't realize that's done very well about the game, they try and limit the number of things on your screen to give you a sense of freedom so that you can just go wherever you want, unless you actually do want to open up a map and pick somewhere specific.
Yeah,
and I like that approach.
I also add that Hope County is very, very beautiful. It's
Yeah.
like a very, like, graphically it's quite a pleasant game. Which also, you know, the aforementioned lack of obstructions on your HUD helps a lot with that. It helps you focus on the environment and the surroundings, and makes you
Helps with
focus
the
on what's
immersion.
happening. You know, there's a lot to do, but a lot of it is very surface level stuff.
Okay, shovel. Yeah. Yes! Fucking nailed him! Did you walk into fire?
Apparently being around those barrels is enough.
I nailed him, Mark. This guy had a gun.
He did.
One of them, which was really strange to me, was that they included silver as a premium currency in the game. I never really understood this that well. So basically in the game, you can find like a bar that you can use instead of the actual money in the game. And you could buy these silver bars with real money as well. And again, considering how abundant cash is in the game, the only real reason you would ever want to actually buy anything with these silver bars would be if you just want to completely destroy any sense of progression in the game and get every gun or weapon that you would want from the very start. Otherwise, there's genuinely no point. You could make the cash to get anything you want within the course of about an hour at most, I think.
So we have microtransactions. People can buy silver. It's a premium currency. They can use it to buy cosmetics and anything else in the game. But we are also going to allow players to earn everything in-game at a reasonable pace, and they can find silver just by playing the game.
You realize you're fired, right?
I can't drop co-op progression bullshit. I cannot drop it. I just think about it all the time.
I think,
and though I don't think it's a game breaker, if you've got, you know, a friend that if you're friends with a person, it's not going to be a game breaker. But the fact that you do not progress in your story while playing in your friend's campaign, fundamentally, it's something that should absolutely be player choice, whether or not they're allowed or they can progress with their co-op partner. Because I can't imagine a lot of people who would play an entire campaign co-op. There probably are, but from my point of view, who would play an entire campaign co-op only to play it again by themselves, and will want to play it again by themselves without any progression saved over.
Yeah.
I mean, most people would want to play a campaign again as a new game plus, and you don't have the opportunity as the non-host player. It's a problem that was present in Far Cry 4. They haven't resolved it, despite some community outcry about it.
I think overall, then, based on what we're saying from single player and multiplayer, I think 7-ish is a fairly decent place to put the game at, where it does a lot right. It has a lot of flaws as well. Again, depending situation-wise on whether you've got a friend or not, can make or break the game in terms of how much fun you're going to have. But overall, depending on what you pay for the game, you're probably going to get about 70% of your money worth, I think, at least, or as a minimum. But there are some things that it does lack. So, yeah, I think 7 out of 10 is probably an adequate place then.